Joining us from Hockey Saskatchewan, Joel Houseman, as we get set for the Top 80 tournament tomorrow in Balgonie. Joel, for a lot of people out there listening that don't know what the heck we're talking about, how do you explain what's going to happen in Balgonie starting tomorrow morning?
Well, thanks for having me on. I guess the easiest way to explain it is, our annual Sask First program. So this is for second year U15 players going into the draft. And, the tryouts started back in December with over 300 kids. And there was an initial round of cuts. We had a tournament, a top 160 tournament at Christmas time. And then there was a second set of cuts to form the top 80, which is happening tomorrow. So this is the top 80 male youth 2011 born players in our province that are A, going into their WHL, SJHL drafts, and B, trying out for our provincial teams. So we're all talking Olympics today. We were watching the game in here this morning, right? So a year from now will be the Canada Games, which is the biggest youth type of Olympic event in our country. And that's what the boys this weekend are trying out for. We're picking our team, December 1st of 2026 here. And basically a year from now, the Canada Games will start. So this is kind of a part of that selection process, but it's also exciting to watch the top 80 players compete at this tournament. It's a great hockey and a great tournament.
You guys have changed the format over the last 10 years, or at least since I was involved, which is 10 years ago, for the betterment of SHA, might add. You guys have
got rid of you.
They got rid of me. But you've changed the format from the one-day zones to the kids now participate with any one of those groups, right? So it's a little more even, if you will, 1 through 8.
Yeah, that's right. When I was a kid and for many, many years, we did the zone tryouts and it worked for its time. But as time went on, and things changed, we kind of looked at changing it. We didn't want to, we want the best players, as they go through the process here. And I know one of the last years that we had the zone team, some of the zones were, had more talent than the other ones, right? So there was kids getting cut from, Saskatoon, Regina, Zone 1, Prairie Storm Zone, those types of places that, would have made the provincial team or, been close to it, right? So we just kind of revamped it into a north and a south part of the province, and it's worked really well. The last year we had the zone teams, I think I was looking this morning, like Max Shields was one of the goalies that they couldn't make the Saskatoon zone team at that particular year. And 2 years later, he made Team Canada. So that was, and it was nothing against the two boys that made it ahead of them. They just, that year they were loaded with goalies, right? So we just wanted to change that part of the program just to ensure the best players keep moving through it.
Great move, by the way.
Oh, for sure. As he explains it that way, that just, it's like having zones in cities now. Well, there's some zones where they're just not hockey in the bigger cities, for sure. One question, and I know there's been people that have asked this, and I've been curious, why does Hockey Saskatchewan do it early? Like you said, it was December to there, and then now we're doing it here, where some of the other provinces kind of wait till the season's over and do their thing there. Why does Hockey Sask do it during the season, and how we do it now?
Yeah, we changed that too a few years ago. And, each province has their own ways of doing things, especially with their own club systems and how they run playoffs and those types of things. For us, we used to do it in April too. Back then, I always found it hard for the kids because a lot of kids would lose out of playoffs or not make playoffs, the next 2 weekends, and then they would sit for 2 months. And, and during their draft year, it was hard, especially as someone that grew up in a small town, it was hard to find ice and those types of things for them. The other thing I've noticed, when you're seeing, this is me personally, but when you're seeing them in season, you're seeing them at peak hockey conditions. So they're in shape, they're skating all the time, they're practicing all the time, they're playing meaningful games. It's ramping up as we go to the playoffs. So we're seeing the best version of them, in my opinion. Now, to each each their own. They, like I said, other provinces do it different ways. That's just something that we've noticed since we've changed it. And, having 2 events in the season is good for scouting. We're the only 2 events out of, the Western provinces that do it during the year. So we get a lot of attention from the scouts that travel in because, they're kind of up against it at the end of the season when they're trying to see everybody one last time before the draft.
That makes sense.
Another question around officiating in other parts of the game. Do you also use that for evaluation of those young officials, or is it just the players we're evaluating at this time?
No, it's for the officials too. So, our officiating department trying to say, they run a similar Sask First program for officials that it's, almost ran the same way. So the kids go to the tryouts and, they make rounds of tournaments. And then, the officials that get selected to go to the Canada Games kind of go through this same process. Our officiating crew that's at the Olympics right now, we have 4 officials, I believe, there. Like, they all went through the Sask First program. So, it's there for that, and it's there for coaches too. We've had many coaches over the years, coach Team Sask, then coach Team Canada. So there's different avenues for different types of people in the game.
My last one I want to ask here too, and just so people know that it's starting tomorrow in Balgonie, but this is such an experience for the kids, and really you learn a lot about them as players, but they're gone from their families this weekend. They're at a hotel as their team, they're bused, there's meals. Like, this is kind of giving them, I guess, a taste of the next level, and they got to mature, and that's, I think it's a great thing that you guys do here.
Yeah, it's a big part of the program is learning how to, they're all aspiring to play AAA next year. Lots of them will move away from home, learning how to manage yourself, manage your time, be away from your families, and, maybe not have mom or dad, relying on them to get you ready or pick you up or what time you're leaving, and being around different adults and part of even just eating different food, right? Like, there, a lot of kids, live at home and have their special pregame meal and, these types of things. But, sometimes you get into different environments, going, we are preparing for the Canada Games too. So going to the Canada Games, like, you're going to be in a weird environment away from your family too, right? So you're in a big village with a big cafeteria. So, just part of learning how to manage yourself and as you're growing up, and how to be a hockey player living away from home. I know it's only a weekend, but it's a good test for it, and it's a lot of fun to stay with different guys. These kids have been playing against each other all year, so now they're they might not be getting along during the year, but now they're teammates. And that's a different thing too, right? So
it's a lot like Team Canada, Team USA.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Really, really. Yeah. Really cool. Are you guys having a beard off at Hockey Sask? What's it? Because I've never seen you with a beard. Now it's like Mopper's got one. Kelly McClintock likes to roll a beard. Are you guys having a little contest there or what?
Yeah, just our winter growth, I would say.
All right, Joel. I know it's a really busy weekend for you and all the team there. So appreciate you taking some time today. Best of luck this weekend.
Yeah, thanks, guys.